Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 20th day of August 2020. Well, it's interesting. We have an 8/20/2020 day to day. So I think that what I said in the esoteric influences is that we want to maybe take a moment, take a pause, kind of reflect, figure out where you're at, kind of bring things to balance before we've been really busy, we've been really stressed, we've been really focused. People have a lot of activism kinds of things going on right now, and sometimes we just need to take a pause and be sure of the direction. Just check in with your own integrity on things today as well, and see if maybe some other boundaries could be set that could maybe kind of shape things a little bit better going forward. But other than that, I hope everybody's doing well. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm going to shuffle a little bit, and then we're going to take 3 cards. If we need more, we'll take them. Otherwise, we'll move on to the rune from the Elder Futhark bag, and we'll close out with the geomancy rune to sort of tie it all together, or show the underlying influences, really. Geomancy is an earth element type of or divination tool, and it can be done in a variety of ways. A lot of things are called geomancy, but basically you're using ley lines and earth energies and all of that to sort of align with the earth's presence and the earth's effect on things, or to gain an earth perspective on it. So if we think about the earth element, we're thinking, practicality, we're thinking tradition, family, home, material security, our jobs, just anything that's part of our material life and here in form. And so things that affect us or things that might be undercurrents, you'll usually find with the geomancy rune that we create each day. So in any event, the esoteric influences are uploading. I'm not sure why things are uploading so slowly these days. It took me forever to get stuff uploaded yesterday. So if this doesn't post when you think it should, well, that's why. I don't know what's going on. I may have to come out of this room, but I don't think so. I think it's never had a problem before. I think it just could be a lot of people uploading right now. And when that happens, things just slow down. So anyhow, we'll stay vigilant. I've already transferred it over to my laptop to see if that makes a difference. And so far, I've got 11% uploaded. So hopefully it'll hurry up, but I don't know. Because this one's usually longer than this, so it takes a little bit longer to upload. Anyway, I think that's all I need to say about that. Let's go ahead and get started. And again, if it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've come back, thank you so much. Click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that. And check out the blog over at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com and see what I have over there. Again, this and the Esoteric Influences videos go on the side panel. I update it every time I put one up. This will be, I just do this one 4 days a week, so today will be the last day until Monday. But Esoteric Influences go up every day, so check those out. They also go up on Instagram, and if they're under 15 minutes, which is my goal, which is why at the end I'm hurrying, because I'm watching the timer, then it can go on Pinterest as well, so look for it there. I have 2 accounts, one for Stepping Aside and one for me. So anyway, it goes on. They let you do it on the business one. I don't know that they let you do it on the regular one. So it goes on that one. And so check that out. And there's links below the video here to tell you where everything is and where you can follow me. And I do follow back. So anyway, let's get started and take our first 3 cards. Maybe our only 3 cards today. We'll see. And I take the 13th one each time for randomness sake. Oh, well, we have the 4 of Cups. Can't really see what's being offered there. He's emotionally stuck a bit, isn't he? Like, I'm not going to look at you. Oh, my shawl is getting in the way of my shuffling. Let me see if I could do something about that. There, that's better. I pile it all in my lap and then I try to shuffle on top of it. well, you know, it's a Thursday, it's a Jupiter day, Jupiter's in retrograde, so all that great expansive influence is happening inward these days, because we've got like eight planetary bodies in retrograde. It's just nuts. And so lots and lots of inner influence right now. So take this time to allow perceptions to shift, and because, you know, maybe they need to. Well, we have the Hierophant, the fifth card, card 5 of the Major Arcana, Divine Mastery. I don't actually feel comfortable with that card, but that's just me. I was reading something where it was a grimoire of another witch. I can't remember his name. I just started thumbing through it, and well, not thumbing through it because it's on Kindle. So anyway, thumbing through it. He's referencing working magic by shifting the burden onto a spirit, and so it's not your hand doing it, but it's the spirit that's helping you's hand doing it. It's like, I don't think I agree with that. I think I might do a little video about ethics, because I think that if you're going to work magic, it's one thing if you want to ask for some help from higher energy spirits, you know, higher resonance, higher frequency, higher dimensional, you know, Sananda presences and things like that, you know, something that's really going to keep you in the higher self mode, in the soul mode when you're doing it. Because respecting free will is important when you work magic, but I mean, I like some of the stuff he says, but I guess I just feel like whatever I do is on me. And I don't think that I'm going to share that, you know, that, in other words, I'm not going to become someone's servant in that regard. And this is what this card reminds me of. I mean, how could it not? They're at his feet. Now, I realize they're learning from him and all of that. But again, I don't know why we have to elevate teachers that aren't actually elevated souls, and why, you know, and there you would just respect and love and all of that, them, and that would be all you would do, you know. But basically, I don't know why anyone would give that authority, that personal authority, over to an unseen force. I don't know why you would do that. But anyway, I haven't finished the book, so I haven't finished the grimoire, so looking through it, and so we'll see, maybe he makes, you know, a case for that, but so far I don't think so. Anyway, rant over. I just think you gotta own it, you know, whatever you do, no matter what it is. Here we have the Lovers. So we've got 2 Major Arcana cards. These are soul archetype cards. So we're going in we've got a pattern here. We actually have a pattern of 4, 5, and 6. 4 of Cups, the 5th card, the Hierophant, and the 6th card, the Lovers. So we actually have a 4, 5, 6. So there's a progression here in the reading. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I think we're going to use the 4, though, as a significator of this. So I think we're going to talk about the things that we can't see that are being offered to us today. You know, what's lacking now, well, not amongst most of us, but there is a percentage of people, starting with the guy, the impeached one in the Oval Office, where empathy and compassion just seems to be out the window. It's all about me and my own personal sovereignty and what I want to do, yada, 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 right? That's not how we go in life. That's not how life is supposed to go. That's not how we're supposed to progress. So yeah, I mean, that's just silly. But in any event, that's what's happening here. And I think we have a guy whose back is up against the tree. So he's deriving his power from his hands and legs, his arms and legs are crossed rather. And so he derives his power from protection, basically. From self-protection. He's got 3 chalices before him, and he might be looking at them, but it's doubtful. It's almost like he can't even see them too. It's almost like his gaze he's looking just down, maybe on the ground. Is what it looks like to me with the magnifying glass. He doesn't have a very good look on his face. He's deep in thought, but at the same time, he can't see what's being offered. It always reminds me of like a pity party. I'll hold this back a little further. It gets a little too blurry up front, doesn't it? With this different camera. But you can see that he's just not interested in even seeing what's there. And the inability to see when someone's trying to offer you compassion or support or whatever, that's a tough place to be in. Because typically you're somebody who needs it at that point, right? And if you can't accept it, well, I don't know. You know, and the 4, he's trying to get things in order. He's trying to find some structure there, but part of that structure is allowing other people in. And he's not allowing it right now. So he's not allowing any new information to come in. If you think of the Hierophant as the master teacher, he's teaching the monks below the idea of balance. You see the 2 pillars. You see the 2 of them down below. You see the crosses on his white, whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. But basically, I'm going to keep the screen live here. But he's holding 2 fingers up to Spirit, plus a thumb, so there's your 3. But if you just want to see that as 2, you see the 3 ticks on his scepter right there. So that's 5. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's a balance there that's protective. Think the pentagram. But it's protective because, in a way, because you have information. In other words, you're not trying to go through everything blindly. And if you can ignore the fact of you know, the triple crown and all of that, you know, which is the Pope's crown, considered the Pope's crown, you've got Spirit invoking, but in a different way that's more focused on a particular mindset, okay? Which is fine. So maybe you got to think about that a little bit. And maybe you're not so willing to accept authority today, if you want to look at the downside of this card. But realistically, what you're talking about is spiritual mastery. And so whatever decision you make in terms of accepting help, accepting the benevolence of others, then basically, you know, that may be your struggle here today. Maybe you're having a hard time accepting help, but understand that the motive may be pure. You're going to have to assess that, of course, but the motive is likely pure. I know it's a card of authority, but again, it's supposed to be spiritual authority. I'm just never so sure when I look at that. It's easier in other decks that are less traditional. The Heindel expression of the Hierophant is incredible, so I don't know. I relate to it better. Here we have the Lovers. We've had this recently, but we've had it several times. Basically, we're trying to come into balance here, but the 6 is about shared purpose and shared abundance and sharing, essentially, a level of harmony that's greater than the self. So you see Adam and Eve in their pure form. You see the sparse oak tree leafing out behind Adam. You see the clouds of mystery that the angel is sitting upon. You see the light of Spirit above with the sun and its rays. You see Eve looking toward the angel, looking toward Spirit, while Adam looks at her. Well, anyway, that's just how that is, isn't it? You see the serpent around the tree. Now, her tree is quite abundant. It's full of apples, as we know. And the serpent of knowledge is behind her, not behind Adam. And it's not, and okay, here's the heresy part. It's not because she's a problem, it's because she's the solution. You know, all you had to do was listen to Joe Biden talk about Jill and how she was the one that healed the family after his wife and daughter were killed in the car accident. They found one another. Well, he found her and bothered her till she went out with him, and then you know, bothered her some more till she agreed to marry him. But she was the healing force, as was Eve. The tree of knowledge is behind her. The serpent of knowledge is behind her because she could listen and she could hear, and because she had she had all of creation to build before her. I mean, metaphorically speaking, the woman is the one that has the children, right? And it's on us. The Empress comes before the Emperor in the tarot, signaling that first and foremost you have the woman, you have the goddess presence, you have Mother Earth, you have the receptive presence that gives forth life, that draws in energy and gives forth life. But with the Lovers, we're talking about balancing the polarity either within or between self and others. And we talk about this a lot here, where how we see one another matters. Do we see the other, or do we see the other side of self? And I think the goal of the Lovers is to understand the integrated aspect of self with others, self in others. I've said this many times, if indeed the Creator is all that is, which I believe that's true, then everything you see is an expression of the Creator, including us. Aspects of the Creator focusing into form, becoming these oversouls that then pieces come off, and then you go, it gets into, it focuses into bodies so that you can have a life, a tangible, intangible form, bringing back all of that information back into the collective consciousness as our experiences unfold. It informs the collective consciousness, sometimes called the Akashic Record, but I don't know, I think that's one way to see it. But I think if we just focus on the idea that there is a humongous consciousness that we belong to, all we have to do is turn our attention to that. It's nothing we have to do good works in order to work back to. It's our fundamental reality. So what we're talking about today, let's see. Oh, and the other thing too, what you have here, you have a 6 and a 4. And so they're opposite 1V and V1. So you see an interesting balance there. But when you put the 5 here with them, we've got 10, 5, that's 6. So we have a 6 numerology. So again, it's higher self-presence coming in today. And really coming into balance. If you've had issues with accepting help, if you have issues of accepting compassion from others, it's signaling it's time to drop that and understand that we're going to draw that from Spirit, that you don't need to be concerned about where it's coming from because it's coming from Spirit. Let's do one more card just to get one last piece of perspective here. Let me get my shawl out of my way here. I don't know why I like to shuffle on my lap. I don't like to shuffle on tables. I guess because I move the table around too much, but I don't know. I just like to shuffle on my lap. So then it'll grab my shawl, the end of my shawl, and the cards go everywhere. It's just, issues. Well, we have the Page of Cups again, new emotional awareness. The water's a little bit wavy in the background, so, emotions are kind of up and down, aren't they? I mean, if you look at a biorhythm chart, just go online or get an app or something if you can do that. and just put in your birth date and all that, and get your biorhythm for the day. It's going to show all kinds of things: intellect and intuition and emotion and physicality and stuff. It just shows all kinds of stuff. And so you see these sine waves everywhere, and you'll be able to see if you're not feeling really up to snuff, if you're not up to par, then you can look at your biorhythm and likely see why. Sometimes it's like my husband and I the other day, it's like, God, we just couldn't get it together, you know? We needed to get things done. We were exhausted. But there was no reason for it. We got enough sleep, went to bed early enough, got, yes, the roosters are crowing in the 5 o'clock hour. So yeah, but at the same time, we're getting kind of used to that now. We didn't plan for them, but we added new chicks and I don't know, to the group, and 2 of them ended up being roosters, and that's not supposed to happen, but it did. So now I've got 2 roosters that follow us around because they're not allowed inside the girls' pen. I don't want fertilized eggs, but basically, we couldn't figure it out. So we looked at the biorhythm chart, and sure enough, our physicality was like, both of us were like in the negative 70s. It's like, oh, okay. Stop feeling bad about it. Stop and just rest. It's the energy. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to come back up. He's like, when? I'm like, I don't know, a few days from now. But here we have the Page of Cups. This little fish is looking out at him, saying hi. Pages are about undeveloped potential. They're also about youthful people, students usually. They can bring messages. Sometimes this has to do with a pregnancy, but maybe, the rebirth of perception so that you can accept help and accept support from other people. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult moment right now. We're dealing with a lot of crazy things, and trust is just at a minimum right now, and I get that. But at some point, we're going to have to trust somebody. And obviously you're going to have some discernment about it, but if your perceptions are causing you to not be part of the collective experience here, then change the perception. That's really what this is calling for. And have it be more toward compassion and benevolence and peace and harmony. We have Perthro today for the rune from the Elder Futhark. I'm using these are my Rune runes. Don't you love it when a tree will just show up on your property for no apparent reason? Years ago, and it's a mountain ash, also called a rowan. And we finally figured it out that that's what it was. So it had a branch for me that was pretty much dead. So we cut it off, and I was able to do my runes, and I was able to do, I let it dry just to be sure, because part of it wasn't completely dead. And so I don't like to take live branches, especially on a young tree. But it was waiting for me, so I took it. And, well, my husband did. And then I first made a wand, of course, and then recently, after letting them, I did this last summer, and so I let it dry all winter long, and so we finally made the runes. He cut them for me, and I did them. So this is Perthro. This is about the unknown. It's about fate. Perthro is the 14th rune of the Elder Futhark, so it's a 5 energy. So change, but it's unknown. It's thought to be the cup from which dice are thrown, or the vessel from which runes are cast. And so it's directional. This is open to birth. This is open to death. Here is your cauldron effect. So if you wanted to use it in a bind rune, if you pulled it and had it in a bind rune, then you could actually use it as the cauldron for the bind rune if you wanted to do one that way and have everything, all the other runes rising out from the cauldron itself. But do we create our fate, or do we just succumb to it? And that, I think, is really the question that this guy's trying to answer realistically. And he's sitting there against his back against the tree in protection of self, in protection of his feelings. Maybe he's experienced harm at the hands of other people, So he's trying to figure out, how do I deal with all the emotions I'm having on this 2 energy day? Trying to bring things to balance. Let's look and see what the geomancy rune is. get everything in order. It goes in the order of air, fire, air, water, and earth. There's 4 runes. This is the fire one. And so what we have is Carcer. And we had Conjunctio yesterday, which is its complement. Let me get a pen out here that works. I think this one does. Yesterday we had Conjunctio. Today we have Carcer. Whereas Conjunctio is joining with others in unity with others, this is self-imprisonment. And I'm telling you, it really aligns with this card quite well. If you think about it, he's in a pity party, isn't he? Possibly. But this is Carcer. It kind of looks like a little bird cage, doesn't it? Carcer's one of the evil ones. That geomancers of old. You had Carcer, you had Cauda Draconis, which is the tail of the dragon or the south node of the moon. And then also Rubeus. They're considered, if you draw them, if your first go around, usually you'll do 4 when you're doing a chart. Like this is a shield chart. I haven't done one of these in a while. I used to do a monthly reading. I should do these again. But this is a shield chart. So you would be doing these first 4. And then from that, you create the rest. You basically combine them together. And if it was like, if you have an odd number when you do that, that's a single dot. If you have an even number, so if you get 4 or 2 or whatever, then you're gonna put 2 dots down. So I mean, there's a way to do it. And anyway, I talk about it in, I did a Foundations in Magic series on this, on how to do geomancy. And so if you want to check that out, that's over there on the YouTube channel as well. To kind of give you an idea of how all that works. There's some references to different forms and things you can look at and create, if you want to, because they're the ones that we use. We either do that, we either do a shield chart, or we do a house chart. That's another way you could do it. You could put them in the houses, astrological houses, and interpret them that way. But it was always thought that if you drew those 3, that you'd have to destroy the reading. It was just too evil to continue. Well, like we're going to do that here. Sorry, not happening. We're just going to talk about how we self-imprison, how we engage in self-imprisonment. That's usually regarding your perceptions, by the way. I mean, everything is perception-based. If everything is the focus of the creator into form, that's perception, right? Well, once you get here. I mean, because that's just truth when you're in non-physical. But here, it's perception, because you balance spirit with ego. And if you don't have enough of the spirit awareness, then ego tends to run amok and perceptions are all over the place, right? And so this guy, maybe we're just talking about misperception here. Feeling sorry for himself or feeling like he's alone. He just can't see that there are people out there that actually want to interact with him and be part of his life and be loving and kind and benevolent and peaceful, supportive, all of that. He can't see it. And so clearly a shift in perception is needed away from the focus and self-imprisonment and back to the conjunctio or the unity with other people. So I guess that's it. Obviously, perceptions need to shift today. Sometimes, you start to think, well, it's like when you start finding out some things about people, or the people they hang with or whatever. Suddenly you're in this position of realization where it's like, uh-oh, I've been thinking the wrong thing. I thought these people were the good ones, and now evidently they're not. Pay attention to the news today. Things are coming out. So I think you're going to find some of that. Maybe some of that will help you to shift your perceptions into a more realistic place. So anyway, thanks for watching. And we'll see you on Monday. Come back, please. I would love that. Anyway, have a good day. Have a good weekend. Check into the, wait for the esoteric influences to come out so you can check into that. I also do a write-up on the blog and where I add a tarot card. Today it's going to be Rune, the 10 of Swords from the Heindel deck. I'm using the Heindel deck this week. I change decks every week, so you get to see a different one each time. So I'll have that. Also, I'm going to use this geomancy rune that we did today, Carcer. That will be the geomancy rune for the day. If you want to get this in your inbox on Sundays, I don't include the tarot or the geomancy one because I do that I do that separately. But you get the whole, roughly almost the whole week, most of it, the whole week, in your inbox on Sunday. So you'll get the numerology, the runes, the lunar transits, and an overview of the human design stuff. I save the daily stuff, the really detailed stuff for this, for the esoteric reading on the video, and then also on the blog itself. So you kind of, you get most of it in your inbox on Sunday, though. So if you want to have that, just to have a heads up for the basic stuff for the week, head over there and to the blog at steppingaside at imsteppingaside.com. Over on the side panel above where I have the videos, you'll see a newsletter sign up. You just put your email in there. It goes to my newsletter software, to that client that I use, and you just get it. I don't know. I don't send anything else out. I just send that out. It's just that. My books are there that you can click on and buy, or if you want to, that'd be very cool. I'd appreciate that. And sometimes I'll have, like an herbal thing I'm an affiliate for. So that's there too sometimes. And so just, that's the only thing you're going to see that isn't that. So I'm not, I can't, I can't do email marketing. I can't do that. I don't know. I don't like getting a bunch of emails, and so I lose too many of them. I just get all this stuff coming in. It's ridiculous. So anyway, but sign up for the newsletter. It's fun. So anyway, I'm kind of happy with it. So it's always a work in progress, but right now I think I have the format I like. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and come back Monday, or come back and watch the Esoteric Influences tomorrow. So anyhow, have a good weekend, and be good to yourself, be good to one another. Wear a mask if you go out, whether you're inside or out. If you're around people, have a mask on. I don't care where you are. Be safe, 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 and blessed be.